Hello, everybody. So I've been getting some inquiries about wanting to get started on the speech. So this is how to write your informative speech. Okay, so please make sure that you think about the topic that you want to do, and we're gonna go over this. So let's just jump right in. I have to have this done within 15 minutes because that's that's the maximum time I'm allowed. So the basics. The due date is correct. That's on Canvas. I was going to change it to October 23rd, but because the department has it later, we'll just go with that one. Okay, so I believe it's the 25th, so whatever Launchpad has is going to be correct. The time limit is 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm very strict about that because if you go way over or way short, that means you didn't practice it. Okay, so please make sure that it is within the correct time. 3 to 4 pages typed. That would probably be sufficient depending on how fast you talk. We already talked about that 12-point font, Times New Roman, double space, 1 page is about 1:45 to 2 minutes depending on how fast you talk. So you can kind of do the math. 3 to 4 pages would be plenty as long as you're going at a normal speed. I must see the entire person. Again, I had 3 or 4 students who just kind of sat down and gave a speech to, that's not a speech, that's a oral report, right? So speeches, your body tells me a lot, right? So, I make a lot of comments about, like feet shifting, slouching, things like that. If you do that in a real speech situation, it would not be as well received. So your posture is very important, okay? Your speech has to have 5 very clear sections: the introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And today I'm only going to get through the introduction, and I will upload another one that talks about the body. I must hear the words according to, insert source, 3 to 5 times. That tells me that you did research and you are injecting that research into your speech. Okay, now if you want to use a synonym for according to, that's fine, but I need to hear evidence that you did research and you're using it within your speech. According to is usually the best bet. Okay, must be an appropriate topic, which we're going to discuss in 2 seconds. And here's the thing, and I don't like saying this, but it must follow my specific formula. Okay, the format that I'm going to go over. If you don't, I will assume, probably wrong, that you did 1 or 2 things. 1, you didn't listen to this. Or number 2, you're recycling an old speech or an old paper or grabbing someone else's speech from a previous class. Please don't do that. Please make sure you are listening to this and you follow the specific format that we're going to discuss. All right, what you need to turn in. Regardless of what the syllabus rubric says, it says that you are to submit the outline. You can submit an outline, that's fine, but I will be just as fine as you submitting your manuscript, typing it out. If you want to submit an outline too, you may do that. But, I prefer the manuscript. You have to turn in a works cited page, and I'm adding a 1-page reflection as to the process of your writing the speech that we will go over. Okay? All right, so let's talk about topics. So a lot of people have a very, very hard time with topic. Picking a topic, I can pick it for you, but a lot of people get angry about that. Some people want me to. It's completely up to you. If you say, hey, Steve, what would be a good topic, I'll give you some. All right, so it's only 5 to 7 minutes, so pick a topic that fits well into that time frame. Like if a person comes up to me and says, hey, I want to do a speech on World War II. Okay, there are entire volumes of books written about World War II, right? So, that would be a horrible topic because, 70 years ago, and if you can somehow make an argument of why it's relevant today, then fine. But that's more of an example. So you want to fit something, or you pick a topic that fits into that time frame. Must be researchable. With the internet, most everything is researchable now, but, when I started teaching this class, research was a little bit more difficult to come by. And I'd always have a student saying, hey, I want to do this really obscure speech. I can't find anything on it. What am I supposed to do? Well, pick a topic that you can. Please make sure that you're picking a topic that's germane or relevant to your audience. Now, we are pretending that we are in class, face-to-face. So 30 Wayne State University college students. What would they all have in common? What are some topics that would be relevant to 30 college students, like maybe how to pay off student debt, getting enough sleep, which is kind of like the theme, the topic that I'm using as the examples moving forward, managing stress, good study habits, how to succeed in an online environment, right? So those are topics that would be great, that would be germane for your particular audience. Keep it rated PG. It's happened. I've had some borderline rated R speeches before. And again, I hate to say this and I hate to be mean. If you want to call me a jerk, say I'm the worst professor you've ever had, that's fine. But any suspected recycled material result in my doing a little research, and we don't want that. So we do keep some of us, Com 1010, keep a record of student speeches, and if we feel that they are being any hint of being recycled, we just double check. Okay. Sources. So when I said that you have to have 3 to 5 times where you say according to, make sure they're appropriate sources. Okay. And there's a great section in the textbook about researching, so pay very close attention to that. A lot of people like to use websites, and that's okay, but please make sure they're reputable. Like anything that has a .org on it is generally fairly well vetted. .coms are a little bit more suspect. And it all depends on how you're using it, right? So like, let's say you want to do an informative speech on the Proud Boys, right? And you look at one of their websites. Now, if you were citing a source about about their background, yeah, it might be appropriate. But if you're citing them as to like about the current state of geopolitical environment, it may not be as appropriate. So it just all depends on how you're being used. So use your best judgment in some of the standards outlined in the text. I prefer vetted news sources. Free Press News, New York Times, CNN, Fox News, anything that has been vetted and is, they go through some of very strict publishing standards. Those would be fine. Again, remember your speech must have a works cited page, and check out easybib.com. It does a really good job at formatting it according to MLA. All right. So any questions about sources, you can please let me know. All right, so let's go over your introduction. I only have 7.5 minutes, so I got to go over this really, really fast. The introduction has 5 parts. Now again, if you do not follow these 5 parts, I'll make those 2 assumptions that I already talked about. I've been writing speeches for 30 years, but coached state champion forensics teams. I write speeches as part of my job. But please make sure that your speech follows these 5 parts. Attention grabber, you introduce your topic, you establish a need to know / establish credibility. That could be broken down. I could probably have 6, but they're kind of interchangeable. Your thesis and your preview. So let's go over these one at a time. Okay, so your attention grabber. I'm dropping down to the bottom. What your attention grabber is not is introducing yourself or introducing your topic. Please don't get up there and say, hello, my name is Jane Doe, and today I'd like to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. No, don't do that. Okay? There are several different techniques. My favorite is starting off with a famous quote about your topic. Or you can give a statistic, you can ask a rhetorical question, you can do a fun fact, establish a metaphor. That's more for persuasive speech, but that's if you want to give that a try, go right ahead. My least favorite, but so the book mentions it, is an interactive attention grabber. Where the speaker gets up there and says, "Hey, how many of you have?" I just don't like that. I think it's just a time suck. And, I just don't like it. So you can do that, I guess, but, why would you pass up the other types? Okay, so those are great attention grabbers. We're talking, 15, 20 seconds, a couple sentences on your manuscript. Okay, Then right after that, you give an attention grabber or a hook, as your old English teacher, speech teacher may have called. Then you introduce your topic. That's where you get a little bit more, you might get a little more erudite. You're much more formal when you introduce this. So spend 2 to 3 sentences generically introducing your topic without giving too much away. You don't start your speech off in this section. You're just this is where you kind of define parameters, or you define words that need defining because they may establish parameters. So like after you might give your attention grabber, you can say something like, today I'd like to discuss sleep, and then you might define it or give context depending on what your topic is. Okay, so that's your second. So your third one is where why am I listening to this speech? Why is it important to me? And also, why should I listen to you? How are you such an expert on this topic? Right? So if you don't establish your ethos or your credibility, I have no reason to listen to you. And there are a couple different ways to do this. Right? Here it's okay to say something to the effect of, as college students, it's important to understand the importance of sleep, or some variation thereof, right? So that's kind of like you're establishing, why is my topic important? Then, why should I listen to you? How is it that I can trust the information you are about ready to give me? So here you can do this by a couple different ways. You can cite a source. Right? It's like, whoa, this person just spent a lot of time talking about or researching this topic. Maybe what he or she has to say is probably true, and I have a reason to believe her and want to listen to her, right? Or you can disclose some personal information, right? So you can establishing your ethos by disclosing personal information. So you can say something like, as a psychology major, I have spent years studying the effects of, right? Insert your topic, whatever you may be doing. Or maybe it's your hobby and you've been doing it, like some people would do it on an instrument. You might say, having played the guitar for 15 years, blah, 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 right? So people now have a reason to want to believe you, right? So that's your third section. Your fourth section is your thesis. Your thesis is just one sentence that captures the essence of your topic. So it can be something as simple as, sleep is an important part of all of our lives and deserves a closer look. Okay, very simple. You're not going to sit there and then now talk about it in your introduction. Don't do that, right? So again, your introduction should be no more than 20% the length of your speech. So if you're talking 5 minutes, it shouldn't be more than a minute, right? So try and keep that in mind. And finally, your preview. I need to hear numbers in your preview. This is a little bit different than what other speech instructors ask for, because it establishes structure within your speech. So what I mean by numbers is, I bolded it here. To see sleep in a more awake light, we will look at 3 areas: the biology of sleep, the dangers of not getting enough sleep, and tips on how to get a good night's rest. Right? So those are 3 areas that I'm going to look at, and I'm going to have 3 very clear, discernible points. Okay? So now, what does a good introduction of what I'm looking for look like? All right? Now, if I were to put all of this together, one of the things that I do in a face-to-face class is I might provide like 5 introductions and have the students kind of underline or bracket those 5 parts so it becomes clearer. But we're not going to do that. But you can hear it, right? Now, do you see? This is a topic on sleep. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Many may recognize these words by one of our nation's founders, Benjamin Franklin. Sleep is medically necessary for the body to function properly. In fact, Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines sleep as a condition of body and mind such as which typically recurs for several hours every night, in which the nervous system is relatively inactive, the eyes closed, the postural muscles relax, and consciousness practically suspended. Unfortunately, all too often, we college students do not get enough sleep. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, one study found that college students get an average of 30% less sleep than the average adult, putting their health at risk. Sleep is an important part of all of our lives and deserves a closer look. To see sleep in a more awake light, we'll look at 3 areas: the biology of sleep, the dangers of not getting enough sleep, and tips on how to get a good night's rest. So that's what it should look like.